let's take some of those suffixes that we just learned and some of the others that are on that new word list and see if we can define some new medical terms. We're going to go along the same lines as some of our previous videos and some of our previous learning, but we're going to do some new words. So let's see what we can put together. Let's quickly review how we define a term. So again, we want to make sure that we break it apart into its each individual component. So find out if there is a prefix, if there's one root, two roots, three roots, right? We can have more than one of those. And what is the suffix? Once we're done with that, we're going to define its individual part separately. And then we're going to start our definition with the meaning of the suffix. All right, so the first word that we're going to break apart is electrocardiogram. So between unit 1, 2, and 3, you should see all of these word parts on the word list. Some of these you may know by heart already because you've seen them now for the third time. But let's see if you can identify if there's a prefix, a root, and a suffix, and what each of those individual pieces mean. Go ahead and feel free to pause this video if you need to take a few moments. Okay, so hopefully you've noticed that there was no prefix. There is nothing with the dash at the end. However, there are two root terms in this particular term. So the first root term is electro. The second is one we've seen quite a bit, which is cardio. Okay. Electro, according to our word list, means electricity, and cardio, of course, means the heart. We do have a new suffix here, but we saw it in this previous word list. So gram is the suffix, G-R-A-M, and it means to record. So let's do the entire definition of this term. And remember again that we started our definitions with the meaning of the suffix. We want to start our word with the words to record. And then you just got to make sure that you include both meanings of both root terms. We don't want to leave any of them out. So the proper definition here would be to record the electricity of the heart. And you've probably seen these. This is when they've stuck those little electrodes on your chest and you get this nice little tracing, right? But what they're doing is measuring the electrical activity in your heart. All right, let's see if we can define another word. All right, your next word is osteomalacia. Let's see what you can find in terms of prefix, root, and suffix. And if you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video. All right, so hopefully you recognized again that there is no prefix in this word, but that the root term here is osteo, which refers to a bone. The suffix here we saw previously on our new word list, it is malacia, which meant a softening. So as we define this entire term, remember we've got to start our definition with the meaning of the suffix. We're going to start our term with the words softening, and we'll just use some filler words to make it make sense. So softening of the bone. And so a lot of us maybe have not heard about this before, and as you know, your bones are pretty hard. They're full of calcium. But if you don't drink enough milk, what happens is they become softer. We refer to that as osteomalacia. All right, let's try another one. All right, the next word is bacteriocide. Bacteriocide. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video and try to define this term yourself. All right, so again, we do not have a prefix in this particular term, but we do have a root term. So the root term here is bacterio, and that referred to being a bacteria. The suffix here is cide, C-I-D-E, which is a new suffix for us this unit, and it means to kill or to destroy something. So as we're defining the total word bacteriocide, we want to start our definitions with the words to kill or to destroy. And so in this case, it's just to kill or destroy bacteria. And so a bacteriocide is usually some sort of a chemical, a spray, or something inside the medical office that helps to kill the bacteria that might be left behind by your sick patients. All right, let's try one more. Osteoporosis. Osteoporosis. And again, if you need to, pause the video, take as much time as you need to define this term. All right, so again, we don't have a prefix to this particular word, but we just saw part of this root term in a previous word. So osteo is still a root term here. We just saw this with a previous word, osteomalacia. We do have a second root term, poro, P-O-R-O. And osteo meant bone, and poro refers to pores, opening, passages, holes, something of that nature. The suffix here is osis, O-S-I-S, which means abnormal disease. So if we're going to define the entire term osteoporosis, it's an abnormal disease of where you have openings or these big holes or pores in the bone. So we did see two osteo terms. So let's just take a moment to think about the difference between the two. So osteomalacia was a word you just defined. Osteomalacia referred to softening of the bone, whereas osteoporosis means to have holes or openings right in the bone. So they do have two very different meanings, despite the fact that they have a root term in common, right? We can change up those suffixes and the other roots that they're attached to completely change the meaning of the term. Option in terms of breaking down this word. So it's the same word, osteoporosis, and again, there still is no prefix. And we still like that root term osteo, which refers to bone, as our main root term. However, in some locations, you might see porosis as the entire suffix. So not just the OSIS, but you might see some text lists at porosis as the entire suffix. And that really refers to pores or passages. So at the end of the day, when you look at this, the official definition here is to have pores or passages in the bone. And if you really kind of compare that to the previous slide and how we broke it down there really is not a significant difference into the meaning of the term. And so there might be two potential ways that you could break down a word in order to get the same meaning. Okay, so again, two different ways. Both ways are actually correct. It really just depends on the text, the exact wording, the slight differences between Latin and Greek, and how exactly they broke them up ultimately. And so there might be two potentials. But again, remember, it didn't really change the meaning of the term. And so whether you broke it up one way versus the other, you're still correct, and you came to the correct meaning. All right, let's look at one more. Rhinoscope is the new term. Rhinoscope. So go ahead and take a moment, pause the video if you need to, and see if you can break this word down and define it. Okay, so we have no prefix here again. And we do have a root term, rhino. So rhino referred to the nose. We have a new suffix here, scope, as the ending. So again, it's at the end of the word. It's written on that new word list with that little dash in the front. So that is the suffix portion of this word. And if you look at the meaning, it refers to an instrument for viewing. So the full definition of a rhinoscope is an instrument for viewing the nose. So you may not have seen this before, but it's a small flexible tube with a camera up it, and they literally slide it up your nose and sometimes down your throat. It's not terribly comfortable, but really important to get some data. All right, let's try one more word. Again, remember, practice makes perfect. All right, the word is splenectomy. Splenectomy. Hit pause if you need to, see if you can do it by yourself first, and then unpause to see if you got the right answer. Okay, so again, we don't have a prefix here. We do have a root term. The root term is spleno, and it referred to, of course, the spleen. We just saw this, right, in one of the lectures about the organs of the body. So if you need to go back and review where the spleen was, please go ahead and watch that video. And our new suffix here is ectomy. So ectomy is how that's pronounced. So E-C-T-O-M-Y. And that refers to the surgical removal of something. So in this case, if we were going to define splenectomy, we would define it as the surgical removal of the spleen. And you can, in fact, live without your spleen. All right. How did you do? Okay, hopefully you're starting to get the hang of it.